Hey everybody, back again with another one. So we have Boomer from the X-Men today, or X-Force actually. She used to be called Boom Boom back in the original run back in '91 with the original X-Force, led by Cable. And we're going to be able to knock this one out pretty quick. I'm giving her her classic green glasses, which are very transparent, and they have a nice retro look from the 80s or early 90s kind of thing, where they're the clear carnival style glass. I always found them really cool. And with the comeback of the 80s and the commercials and everything that's in service right now in advertising, it's really a good time for this to come back around. Because right now we're going through a transition where we had like 1980, 1, 2, and 3, where we had, like, if you remember the Double Dare show or stuff like that, where everything was super bright colored and just bright and cheery and happy, and it was a really, really good time. That's the kind of style that advertising is taking a direction for right now in its comeback, and we're getting to see a lot of that come back now in specifically soda commercials and clothing. If you've seen the new Target campaigns where they do the dances and stuff, so this is a really good fit for that. But anyway, this character is from the original X-Force run. She was in a little bit of the New Mutants, but not very much. Right there at the end, when it made the transition to X-Force, is when she came around. And I remember her first off in the X-Force #1 instead of the annual, which the annual that was done for the New Mutants right before the book took off into X-Force. That's where she's most popularly known as that annual, but I don't really remember her too much from that. I remember her in the pink and yellow suit in the X-Force Prime book. That X-Force #1 was groundbreaking stuff. Whether you're a Rob Liefeld fan or not, that is a huge comic book for the influence of modern comic artists, the way that comics were drawn. Because, Rob Liefeld and Todd McFarlane, Eric Larson, those guys that were popular with that little clique at Marvel that took over so many books and took them into the modern era, you got to consider what they did, and you got to give them props for it, because whether you like them or not, they did their due diligence to change the industry, and they really, really did it well. Now, as far as this character goes, I'm drawing a variation on the yellow sleeveless jacket from the X-Men run, where she was in that uniform and she changed it. She stylized the X-Men uniform, and there was an issue where Cyclops actually complained at her for cutting up her uniform and destroying it because she had cut the sleeves off. And then I believe it was Psylocke that went right behind her and did the same thing and helped her out and was mentoring her anyway. And that was right there when they had that blue and gold team return. So they've had a variation on her run throughout just about every X book out there. She was even in Weapon X recently, in recent years, and revitalized this costume, where she had gone into a black dress or a pink dress with pumps for a while, and that's all you would catch her in, would be a cocktail dress. And that's That's not very practical. But that's what a lot of people were drawing her in recent years, and it's just odd sometimes, but it is what it is. So, and by the way, as promised, if you guys wanted to see or hear the podcast from last week that I had technical issues and didn't get up in time from when I wanted to do it last Sunday, I did get that posted. It's over at comickickstarter.com, and you can just click and play the video right there. You can also go on youtube.com, and you can search Brad Linder, BradLinder, and if you search it by namesake, you'll find me. I'm right there at the top. So there's no doubt about it. I'll be right there. But yeah, you guys can check it out over there if you want. However you want to do it, whichever's easiest. So, just letting you know. Just throwing it out there. So, anyway, I am trying to knock this out here. Get my big hands out of the way so you guys can see. Move your knuckles! But, gonna shade this in a little bit. Now, this is a yellow jacket, but the thing is, though, it's leather, so it's heavy. They've always portrayed it as a leather suit, so this is more of a modern rendition rather than the yellow spandex that they normally wear. She actually has a yellow jacket that she modified for her suit. She likes being stylish, so very contemporary. Excuse my sniffles, guys. I am dealing with the allergy thing again. Tis the season. I don't normally get sick at all, but during the summertime, the old allergies, boy, they hammer me bad. Now, a lot of people are going to look at this and they're going to go, wow, man, you've enhanced her bust. Well, again, in recent years, she's picked up a growth spurt, so she's gotten kind of chesty, and she wears this low cut thing that goes right below the line, so she's got a bust line through the suit, and then she's got this blue shirt on underneath it in most cases. I like to put it up here, but it doesn't go there anymore, so there you go. Is what it is. I know a lot of people will be like, well, you could have put it up there. No. No. Not in this case. No, not this time. Because this character's very well known for that. She's always a little bit of a feisty, or, you know, a nice way to put it is a feisty or sassy attitude. So that works. She tries to be a good kid, but she's grown up now and gotten a little more risque with the stuff that she does. So she's become a really fun character to draw. Not to mention, she's one of the most underrated female characters in Marvel. Literally. I mean, hardcore. She is ignored quite a bit. And she's one of the most prominent and lethal characters out there if she's given the opportunity and taken care of as far as good story placement. You know, and not just a supporting cast member on the sideline. So many people put her on the side, though, and they end up messing that up. So, you know, there's always that problem. I want to leave that open because, like I said, she's blonde. there's not a lot of shading we can do with her hair without messing it up or overworking it and making it look weird, and I don't want to do that. So and this character originally was the girlfriend to Cannonball for a long time when they worked together in X-Force. And I really dug the fact that they gave her a character like Cannonball a girlfriend that was actually more mature and more about herself than he was. Because if you remember in the late 90s, they stuck him over in the X-Men as a new recruit, which was weird because he's been around for a long time. But they made him off as a punk kid trying to grow in as the new X-Men team members, and it was just strange the way they did that. Now what I'm going to do here is this is one of her energy balls, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw the tail off this way, and I'm going to put just a little bit of a lip on it for energy trail, and then I'm going to come in like that and seal it off. Because the reason I do that is because of the fact it makes it look like it's got a little bit of a pop to it, and I just want a little bit of that energy to portray off that way, like a little more motion. So I'm going to do this one now, same way. I want them to look like they're moving a little bit, but not to the extreme to where they're zipping around. It's more like she's moving them around and causing them to float around her, like a Magneto type of thing with ball bearings. I want to clean that up a little bit. That card caught it, and it's a little rough line. But yeah, I want them to look like they're swinging around her, kind of, and that's what she's doing with them. So I'm going to put this tail off this way. There we go. So, and these, when I color them, they'll be kind of orb-esque. So they'll have this fire thing going through them like this. That's the way she does the energy spheres that she works with. They're like little fireballs. Almost a Dragon Ball Z marble type effect is the easiest way to explain it. Now I'll go in and put in her eyes. And I know this one, like I said, I know this one's going off really quick. It's because this character is someone that I've drawn, oh my goodness, way more than most female characters in the Marvel Universe especially. I've drawn this character a lot. Because back in 2000, I really wanted to work on when they broke up the team and they moved it on, and it was just a couple of them left. I really wanted to make it have a comeback, and that didn't work out because they decided to go a different direction. But yeah, I was working hard to get that going as a new team to come out, and then they came out with the variations of everybody with Warpath and everybody else, where they changed everybody up. So I was like, okay, cool, whatever. Fine then, I don't want to work with you either. But not that I'm bashing anybody or anything crazy like that. It's just that happens a lot. And when you get with these editors now, that's something I'll tell you guys too. If you're trying to get into comics, pay close attention to. I mean, I know a lot of the pro guys that are on here with me will tell, that they'll pop this off too. The big thing, especially with like Disney right now, they've been doing a lot of outsourcing to other countries and stuff, which a lot of people are griping about. But even more so, the stuff that they're doing right now is they get two artists on the same project, and they'll get them going, and they'll say, okay, this one works, this one doesn't, and they'll cut one guy off. He'll get paid for what he did, but he won't get any credit for it, and it won't be something that you can come off and expose. So, there's a lot of politics into this stuff now. And I mean, even more so, it's by who you know and what you go for, rather than what you can do talent-wise. That's not really a fair call, you know what I mean? But there's so many people that are up in arms right now because of that fact, because when you put in a contract, you may get a submission, you may get a contract in, but you may get shelved on your job. And that is a major bummer. I've been hearing about that a lot lately, way more than it used to happen a couple of years ago. Now it's almost to where they pair you off to guarantee that the project's going to get done, and then the editor gets to pick the final call. And if that's so, that's really extreme, man. That's not fair at all. I mean, there's way more books out there than you can shake a stick at if they're done properly. And it doesn't need to have that kind of lockout situation. But I've seen that firsthand. And a bunch of people in the industry are complaining about that big time right now. So, if you get a job, be sure that you hang on to it, because you keep looking and you hang on to it tight, but yet you keep looking for other projects too, because you never know when you're going to get folded out because of, them changing direction corporate level, or a book changing direction completely different because another artist comes in and takes it from you. So keep that in mind. I know the industry's tough and all that, but undermining someone out of a job is kind of rough. And I know that's a crappy thing to do, but I know for a fact that they're doing it. So, that's why a lot of the industry's changing and people are moving out. If you want to make comic books, be sure to know what you're getting into, and make sure that no one else is up for the same script or same position kind of thing before you even get in there. And yes, I know I made her eyebrows really blocky, but I wanted to make her look really animated with this one, so I left it alone with that. But anyway, this is about done here. And this is one of the quicker ones that we've done on these things. Yeah, I know, Matt. Disney's always done it that way. Yeah, I know. They always put it in. They always put it in and double up. But for Marvel to take that approach, Disney corporate or not, for Marvel to take that approach, it's not something that's common in the industry. Okay, that's you can't count on someone to come in and say, you've got this job going on, and you give them the ticket, and then they do the work, and without notification of any kind of response opportunity, they just say, okay, the editor tells them last minute, you did the work, great, we're going to keep it for clip art, we're going to pay you, but you can't show it to anybody because we're not going to allow you to reference it because it's not an existing issue or a published issue. You can't publish it or show it for 10 years. So, that's why you get these guys, these older artists coming up with artwork that's coming out 10, 15, 20 years later, and they're selling this awesome stuff that was supposed to be setup stuff for issue 81 of Iron Man or issue 364 of the X-Men. The reason they're doing that now is because their contractual obligations for the gag order on that issue is coming up, and they can actually show that artwork and start to express it and release it and make some money off of it, where they didn't make it off the book from the public sales or the credit. So think about that one. That's some heavy, heavy stuff. And a lot of people are getting out of the comic book industry because of it. So, it's tough enough in the industry with the limited sales on the books and the competition being excessive right now. With everybody wanting the top 500 books, and then sales being down, and then editors starting that kind of crap, that's time for an industry major overhaul, folks. That's not cool. That's not fair. You don't do that. You don't let everybody do the contract and then dump on them. I mean, not that I'm going into a rant or anything crazy like that. I'm just saying, for example of being professional, you work your butt off to get the project done, only to have these people come along and step it out and say, okay, we're not going to do that anymore. That's cold-blooded. So, whenever you see that kind of stuff happen, make sure and call out on it. I mean, it's not the industry standard for comic books. It's the industry standard for studios behind the comics now. And if that's the way it is, as a trade, we need to make that change. So that's what I'm saying. But rant over. Like I said, I'm not going on a tangent about it. There's Boomer. I've really got to lower this board again. My cars keep taking off. We've got this set up. Tomorrow is going to be Jubilee. Scratch that. Psylocke. It's going to be Psylocke tomorrow, and then it's going to be Jubilee the day after. I don't normally give these this far ahead, but like I said, with the podcast stuff, the reason I'm not posting the link is I want you guys to have it if you're on. That's awesome. It's a special thing for you. Check it out. Also, as far as the next card coming up, like I said, it's going to be Psylocke tomorrow, Jubilee the next day, and then as a surprise gift for you guys for attending and taking the time out to hang out with me, I'm going to tell you we got a special one coming up, Gambit. One of my favorite all-time X-Men. He's right up there with Colossus and Nightcrawler for me. It's actually a couple notches, Wolverine's not one of my favorites. He's a classic character, granted, but he's been so overutilized in everything. I just have an attraction for drawing different variations of characters and different spectrums, rather than just hammering the same, character over and over and over into everything as the Marvel image. But you guys hang in there. Check out the podcast if you get the opportunity. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.